Welcome to Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast. Get ready to revitalize your mind, body, and soul. We're here to inspire women who are looking to break free from old patterns and ideas to create a life of increased confidence and improved health. Say goodbye to limiting beliefs and hello to new possibilities. So kick back, get ready to have some fun, and let's dive in. We'll uncover tools and insights that can help you build a life that's truly nourishing, body and soul. Hi, welcome to Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast. I'm Tracy.
And I'm Victoria.
And today we're going to be talking about healthy habits because we left other episodes on nice response to that.
Oh, habits are not my favorite. Wait, that's like my least favorite word. No, it's not my least favorite word. I'm thinking no, or you're wrong. Those are also bad words. But it's not a favorite word, habit. Habit sounds like very...
Well, realize it or not, you have a ton of habits already.
I know, like habits say to me like consistency and doing the same thing every day. Like my ADD doesn't
weighing yourself every day, like that. Would that be a habit?
Okay, well, okay. That's a compulsion. That is different than a habit. That is like an unhealthy compulsion. You taught me that.
Oh, but it's a habit.
I do.
Habits.
Except for I weighed myself 3 times yesterday. I weighed myself before exercise, after exercise, and after I ate. Because you told me I could weigh myself 20 times a day.
As an experiment.
Oh yeah, that's right. An experiment.
You have to have your scientist lab coat on for that. And that was good because you're checking at various points.
Yes. It's really hot here, so I wanted to sweat a lot and then see if you lose. And you lose I lose like 2 pounds.
Yeah. Yep. And then
I ate and drank some water.
And then
I gained back 1 pound. But then today it was like whatever it was yesterday.
So yeah, a changing number, which is why our weight is not the thing to focus on.
Yes, that is what. Oh, we didn't do it.
Oh,
we didn't do it.
All right.
Oh my gosh. I know better, but
yes. We will do that.
We're supposed to do it at the beginning.
I know. Well,
the habit.
We have to have a little bit of lead in why we're talking about the healthy habits, though.
Okay.
Because we kind of left it with, so if weight is not the thing to focus on, then what is? So what are we focusing on instead of weight? If that's not the health indicator that we've been taught that it is, and it's not like it's a totally useless number, but it's not equivalent to health or ill health. And so then what do we focus on?
Yes, that is what I was wondering on. Because last week we were talking about, we shouldn't focus on the weight on the scale. Okay, fine, I totally get it. But also not focus on the number of calories, which also, what am I supposed to focus on then?
That's what we're talking about today.
All right.
So there we go.
Good.
What we're focusing on,
because I need to know.
Better indicators of our health than the number on the scale. So that's what we're talking about. And I'm going to do, I know better, but.
Okay.
And it's tied to our first habit. And so our first habit is sleep. This is not a surprise.
That's not how it works. It works. I know better. And then we do the reveal of sleep.
Not today.
Oh, all right. Sexy thing.
So sleep. I know how important sleep is, from intellectually, but also by my own personal experience. And I know that I need, I function so much better when I'm getting the appropriate amount of sleep. And yet I know better. But how many nights last week did I stay up until midnight, 1 o'clock, working on stuff for this podcast instead of going to bed and doing it the next day?
A lot.
Too many.
Well, then that makes me feel bad about my I know better then.
Because?
Well, I know better, but I feel bad because she's been working on the podcast. And this is my I know better. I haven't been getting enough sleep for the past 2 nights because I know better, but I started binging a show. So I've been working hard. This is a plucky sidekick. So that's the thing. When you get to be the plucky sidekick, you don't work on the podcast. You just watch TV or whatever. I'm streaming it. So I'm streaming a new show and I know better, but instead of sleeping, I have been watching this show.
And
Until the light hours. And I think, oh my gosh, stop this and go to sleep.
And I'm sure none of us have ever done that.
No, I'm sure I'm the only one. That's what they call it, binging.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
See, this is what happens when you're like high powered and like working on the podcast all the time. Phones going on.
We know better.
Yes,
but we still don't always prioritize sleep the way that we ought to. So the reason that this is our first habit, I'll be referring to notes today because of some, sciencey kind of things. What actually happens when we neglect these things?
Wearing a white coat. I have one. I have one you can borrow for next time, and you've got your science hat on.
There you go. So
coat on.
Coat. Yeah.
No, that didn't make any sense. Sorry, guys. Go.
So the first one is sleep. And what happens when we don't get enough sleep? It affects our immune system, or it weakens our immune system, and we become a lot more susceptible to any manner of illnesses. And then this obviously is not good for our health.
Yeah.
When we don't have a fully functioning immune system.
Well, that was one of the things that ticked you off about your husband when he went to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And they just immediately went to wait. And her husband's super fit. So it doesn't make any sense. They didn't ask.
No, they didn't. They didn't ask about how he was sleeping at all.
How is he sleeping?
Well, he snores and we're working on that, but
okay.
And he stays up. He has to get up ridiculously early right now for his job, and he doesn't go to bed early enough to facilitate that. But
that maybe was really a personal question. But so if the doctor didn't ask it, I figured someone should. So that was me.
So yeah, our immune function, our cognitive ability.
Yeah, that's true.
How many times have we made poor decisions because we were not well enough rested to have a logical brain working?
Yes. So, or you're this at work.
You're sitting at your desk.
Boss, go till I get some coffee. Lots of it, please. Big pots.
Yes, wake me up because I didn't get enough sleep, so I now need chemicals to do that for me.
Yeah. And those chemicals work.
They do
for some people.
There's many billions of dollars have been made off of that.
Good reason.
So yes. But also it affects our mood.
Yeah.
Which if you've ever had a kid who stayed up a little too late, I'm sure many of us have. We see these sleepy sillies.
I love the sleepy sillies.
They're very fun.
They're super fun. I love it when I don't have kids. So I love it when I'm there at somebody's house and their kid goes bonker crazy. So in a cute way. It says funny things and does funny things.
They are.
That's why you get to be the fun aunt, and then you leave. Are there repercussions to that?
Yes, there are.
Is it hard to
Okay. There's a horrible witching hour after sleepy sillies. They don't just, it's not, if you take a kid who is tired enough to go to bed, but not overly tired.
Yeah.
Often they'll just go to bed for you.
I try to enhance the sleepy sillies.
This
This is why none of my family has ever let me watch their kids.
They just have you moved in and help.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, because then they just lose it. And any slight suggestion that doesn't align with their crazy world at the moment. And it's the other end of the spectrum. It's not.
This is why.
This is why I leave. Weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth. So
that's sad.
Yeah.
So sleep. That's
but I mean, and some of us just do the same thing. We don't get enough sleep. We just get punchy, and we're pretty funny. But we're not at our full cognitive ability.
Someone say I'm not ever at my full cognitive ability, but that's all right. I survive.
That's because you stay up all night watching TV.
Yeah, I think that does. I stay up all night watching TV. Yes. And then or writing or something.
Yeah. Obviously, not getting enough sleep then affects our overall health, just how we're functioning in life and going about things, and there are physical repercussions from that, as well as mental and emotional and all of that business. That all being said, this is not saying you must get 8 hours of sleep every night or you're going to have poor health, period, done deal. Because there are times when there are things that are more important than sleep. When you have a newborn baby that's waking up in the middle of the night to have food, good idea to get up and feed them. Not prioritize your sleep over that. When you have a sick child, when you have something else, you get a phone call in the middle of the night from a friend or family member, it's a good idea to prioritize that over sleep.
Unless it's me.
Who's just,
I'm just up writing and I'm like, oh, I have this thought or this idea or that's good. And then I'll forget. I try and schedule mine. But but the point is
that it's not, don't feel like, I'm not sitting here saying you have to get 8 hours of sleep. This is not you're a terrible person who's not taking proper care of yourself, and you need to straighten up if you're not doing this.
My mom says she needs 5 hours of sleep and that's it.
There are some people that do require less sleep, but that's just a real slippery slope, because too often it's like, you think you don't need that much sleep, but you're saying, oh no, I'm just one of the people that doesn't require much sleep, because you're not prioritizing sleep. A good way to tell actually is have a time where you can go to bed and just sleep as long as you need to. Are you waking up without an alarm in the morning? Because if you're having to rely on your alarm and you're super tired when your alarm goes off, that's a pretty good indication that you're not getting enough sleep. And snooze and snooze and snooze. Actually, snooze buttons are terrible because
I thought you were gonna say good.
No, because they actually, what happens, the amount of time on a snooze button, you get disturbed, you get awakened, and then when you hit the snooze button, you go back into it allows, it's really bad timing. It allows just enough time for you to get to the point where you're gonna be a lot more groggy at that point, waking up. And so you really set yourself off in a bad cycle right at the beginning of the day.
That's how I get up, like with 800 snoozes. I was just setting up my alarm yesterday or last night for, anyway, so that I could get up after my binging of this TV show. It's PBS, if that makes it any better.
It's just redeeming now.
It's what?
Redeeming.
Sort of. It's kind of like, a soap opera with a bunch of fancy clothes from the 1800s. Anyway, on my alarm clock, it said snooze up to 3 times, snooze up to 10 times, snooze for. I was like, who snoozes 3 times? Like, who would snooze to just end after 3 times? I'm not saying I don't get up after 3 times, but I certainly wouldn't want to have it be ending. It's not like I'm that confident in my ability to get up. So snooze is bad. Oh my heavens. Well, it's just so much to work on.
And again, if you're not prioritizing sleep, then just be very careful about what you're prioritizing instead. Because no matter how important that thing is, even if it is a child that needs to be fed at night, that doesn't go, oh, well, you're up feeding a child, so therefore you don't have any of these other physical consequences. The physical consequences are there, and mental, emotional, period. They're just there. And
you just get to blame them on different things.
Right. So if
feeding children versus watching the star of this new show that I'm watching die. The hot dude just died. So I'm like,
okay, now you can go to bed.
I know. I thought, well, I need to sleep now. Dude is gone.
So thank you for killing him off then.
I guess so. Thank you, PBS. This is Jane Austen.
It's gonna help her sleep patterns. So yeah, just be careful what you're putting ahead of sleep is the point there.
Yes.
The next one, the third one, is intuitive eating. That is,
we talked about that.
We had an episode where we briefly touched on it and gave you some resources to learn more about it. And we say specifically intuitive eating instead of just nutrition in general, because if you're eating intuitively, a few things, it's not such a clinical focus on nutrition, calories, macros, whatever it is you're counting, that can become very easily be not a healthy thing.
Yeah.
Because then it's causing you more stress. It's just,
or you're just like calories in, calories out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's me going, okay, how many calories is a bowl of cookie dough?
It's why you liked Weight Watchers, because they gave you another.
Yes.
This is exactly what I have to do.
Yes.
And it's not intuitive at all. When we're eating intuitively, we're going to have that well-rounded nutrition. We're going to have that balanced approach. We're going to be taking pleasure with our food. And if you're just focusing just on nutrition, that's not something you're paying attention to. What are you making that face
No,
for?
I'm not making it for any reason. No, I'm not. I will say though that we are super, super lucky. We live in the Sacramento Valley.
Yeah, so
And
spoiled.
we have, like, in the middle of nowhere, we're in an orchard right now. I mean, obviously we're in a farmhouse, but it's in the middle of an orchard, like all around.
Yeah.
Look, there's orchards. It's very beautiful. There are all kinds of fruits and vegetables that are grown here, but it's like peaches are starting to be in season. Like, you're very, and this one thing about living here that is good for me. I'm a city girl at heart, but one thing is that you're very in touch with the seasons, because everything's all, yeah, you live in the middle of the food. And so you just go down to the corner and there's like, you know, a little stand and the man's selling, you know, strawberries or whatever. We were going through strawberries and cherries
right there.
And so it's so easy to, like, when you got a peach and you take it and it's like juicy and the skin almost falls off and you're standing over the sink, it's very easy to be intuitive about that.
Yeah. And
You
take,
know,
and take pleasure
the
with
pleasure.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the pleasure.
Yeah.
In that. And you know, it's all year round. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. It's easy for me when you first started explaining, like, eating intuitively, when you talked about chocolate, how you can slow down and appreciate it and whatever, enjoy it. I did find you gave me an idea. I don't know if it was like this explicit when you said it, but something about taking a few moments before your food. So there's a lot of religions that pray or say a blessing before their food, but I do feel like if I take a few beats of gratitude of, like, okay, this is where this food has come from. And again, when you're living in the middle of it, you can see where it's coming from. Even meat or everything, you can see where it's coming from. You know, take a moment to be grateful for that. That, I mean, I got that idea from you. And well, I grew up in a church that did give blessings, but you know, to really not have some rote thing come out of your mouth, but really, like, appreciate what you're going to eat and what that can do for your eating. You were talking about, this is going to come up, I think, with our next one, which is stress. But you were talking about once that if you eat with friends and family and you're enjoying your meal and all of that, it is not going to affect your body in the same way that standing at your desk going, with whatever piece of pizza at the last deadline of work or whatever.
Absolutely. And I think, do we skip exercise? I think we skipped exercise and movement.
Oh, I think I wanted to. Sorry. Stress, and then talk about, because you just did intuitive eating. So let's do stress, because we talked about.
So when you see the graphic at the end, if you're watching, it will not be in the same order as we're talking about this. That's okay, because these are not
my fault. Actually, why am I apologizing? You're the one that skipped it.
Because it's your habit. So yeah, it's okay, because these are not in like in order of importance. They're just 5 habits. So
randomly chosen.
Not randomly.
You shook the like little 8 ball back in the day. Oh, one more thing about intuitive eating though. Another thing that happens with that is that we become more attuned to our body. And when we're more attuned to our body, then we'll catch, not just will we eat differently, we'll notice things like illnesses that are coming on. We'll notice those more quickly. Because we'll just be more aware of what's going on with our body, and things are easier to treat the earlier you catch them. The earlier you pick up on them and realize that they're there. So, well, I have another benefit. I have pernicious anemia. That's what they officially call it, a pernicious anemia, which means I just can't get rid of it no matter what I do. But I had a whole bunch of symptoms, and I went to I'm not saying my doctor. My medical doctor is amazing, but it did take a naturopath when he talked to me about everything that was going on around me before he was like, you might be anemic, and then took very specific tests. And I am. And one of the things, well, not one of the things, there's several things. One, like my hair started falling out, which is awesome. Super great. And like my throat will close up
Mhm.
where it's hard, gets harder and harder to swallow. And like there are a lot of physical symptoms. I love ice. I mean, not now. I'm super careful of how balanced I am with my iron, and eat a lot of red meat, which has the very specific thing. Spinach won't do it. So for those of you in the comments, spinach isn't enough, but in case somebody's out there, even one person that's experienced anything, go get your iron checked and then like start on some sort of program, because
one real simple one is if if you crave chewing ice, then have your iron level checked.
Pica is the official word.
I did not know that was the name for it.
It's a name
Makes
for
sense.
it. It's pica. It's also like eating dirt too, but I didn't ever want to eat dirt. But the ice, I don't understand. They don't understand why. Maybe somebody does, but they don't understand why. But I'm just saying, like, I now have to be very in tune with my body. Like if I feel like my throat's starting to close up, I'm like, okay, I need a steak. And that sounds really one-to-one sort of thing, but that really is it. Like if my throat's closing up, I need to eat a steak. If I eat a steak that night, my throat is better. But that requires being really in tune with your body. And had I known that a long time ago, like a lot of things would have been better. One, I would have had more hair, but but like paying attention to what's going on with your body is the whole key.
Right. And intuitive eating really lends itself to that, aside from the nutritional aspects of it. So our next one after that, but then we'll go back, this is not going to be any surprise. Is stress management.
Yeah, it's not going to be surprised because I let the cat out of the bag. Sorry.
Well, it's no surprise anyway, without the cat out of the bag. Stress management. This is such a big one that has so much more impact on our health than our weight. The things that happen with stress, and it doesn't even have to just be that intense, got a project due, the short time period, intense stress. Constant low level stress really does horrible things. It causes chemical changes in our body that affect our mental health, and that the cardio issues, it can cause cardio issues because of the cortisol and the adrenaline that it brings up, and it can weaken our immune system. So combination with no sleep and stress, which often stress causes us to lose sleep, that just does not do good things for our immune system.
Well, so I spent my life working in tech in Silicon Valley and in San Francisco, in Emeryville, Berkeley. I mean, they call it, you live on the bleeding edge, and that is really what you felt like all the time. And especially if you are working on a product that's going out, I don't know if you've been working on it for like a year and then it's, the month up to, I mean, it's really like, you're, in some ways you're treated very well at these companies, so I don't want to complain too much. But one thing about the food would be like, we would have these meetings, like lunch meetings, and lunch would be catered and all. It would be super nice, good restaurants from around that would come and cater the food. But the closer we got to deadlines, the more it was like sandwiches and pizza and stuff where you could just go and grab and like, so they could, and I always would gain weight and I think, what in the world I'm doing? Because me, my counting calories or doing Weight Watchers or whatever, I would just be like, what is going on? I'm eating the exact same things. Like I'm not exercising any more or less, or
that's
less.
Stress
It just would come.
Because what happens, your body gets into that stress response, and it triggers insulin and cortisol production. And insulin and cortisol cause our bodies to hold on to weight, because like this is an emergency situation. We don't know what's going on, so we're just gonna conserve. Your body goes into a preservation mode, which is hold on to this.
Like I'm in a cave, and there's like a scarcity of food or something, and they're like, I haven't discovered fire or something like that, or I'm in the process of discovering fire, but it hasn't burst into flames yet.
There you go.
Thanks.
So that's that.
Thanks, evolution. Just saying.
How we're designed, it's to protect us. It's to protect us.
But
also digestive issues that can happen. I mean, how often does it happen that you get, you're stressed about something, you just had an argument with somebody that's important to you, and you just feel like either you can't eat anything or you just want to eat everything.
Yes.
And then it doesn't sit right.
Yes.
It's not in your stomach, or what it really messes with our digestion. So stress can mess with our digestion and cognitive impairment.
I had a boyfriend. Oh, he was a constant digestive issue.
For him or you?
For me. Oh, he was like nothing but stress every time I talked to him.
Sounds fun.
Oh, he was. It was a joy.
It was delightful. Hopefully that didn't last very long.
It didn't.
Okay. Okay, good.
No.
I don't be too worried. I was worried.
I had a boyfriend too, who once decided he thought I should gain weight so that no other boy would be attracted to me. He legitimately told me that. He went on I know this is a random thing, although it was very stressful. He went on the paleo diet before it was paleo. I can't remember, it was the Atkins diet, where he was like eating massive amounts of protein and no carbs. But he was a great cook and a great baker. And he would bake these like bacon and eggs and cheese every morning. And also like these really yummy muffins and pancakes and things. Okay. So he was losing weight and I was gaining weight. And I thought, well, and I noticed that he wasn't eating any of the carbs and I was eating the carbs plus all the bacon, plus all the eggs, plus all the cheese. So I said something after I gained like, I don't know, 10 pounds or something. And he's like, yeah, he goes, I'm trying to get you to gain weight so other men won't be attracted to you. Stressful.
He was super secure.
Yeah, he was really, yeah. Oh my gosh. So he was gone.
So this is how she managed that stress.
Yes, I just eliminated whatever his 180 poundness.
There you go.
He's never going to be listening to this, but if you are, you know who you are.
Yeah, so cognitive impairment comes with stress.
That's exactly what it was. He did not sleep enough. Anyway.
And so that the cognitive impairment, it could show up as
stress,
memory problems. Yeah, stress can cause memory.
He was an engineer, so he didn't sleep and he had a lot of stress. And he was starting his own company, which became very successful.
There you go.
I know.
So
and now my family is like, and he made great pies. So my family's like every Christmas when there's no pies and there's no me with like my multi-billionaire boyfriend, they're like, having a pie guy. Really liked pie guy. Like pie guy was trying to get me fast.
Too much stress.
It was stress.
So
he was stressed.
I'm gonna backtrack now.
Sorry.
No.
Well, this kind of connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Backtrack to exercise and movement. And I use both those words because exercise is, much more the plan. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to do this or this and this. And movement is equally valuable, but it's not as, people think in order to be healthy, I have to exercise. So really, it's the movement that matters, just getting ourselves moving. We're not meant to be sedentary, we're meant to be moving.
Yes.
And so getting ourselves moving. So the exercise.
I fully believe in the movement now.
She's joined the movement.
I've joined the movement.
But we do use both because there may be people like you who are resistant to.
Not really. I was like, why are you using the word movement instead of exercise? Movement obviously is an exercise, and you're trying to like make it pretty or soften it or whatever. I'm not about the soft edges. Very hard edges me. But I now have come around to your way of thinking. Yes, I was wrong about dismissing movement. You're right. Exercise is a loaded term.
You heard it here first.
It's a loaded term. I know. Mark it down, Mom. If you're watching, yes.
Get on the calendar.
My sister, note wherever it is. Note that. Yeah, I just said I was wrong.
But moving, exercise.
Yeah. I'm just saying, exercise is a loaded term.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is why I'm saying movement is good.
It can
like
be,
what my exercise is what I would consider movement now, not necessarily exercise. So.
Interchangeable, kind of depends on how you look at it. Whatever word works for you. go there.
Yes.
But you know, it's obviously very well documented how good it is for us physically. We can't over-exercise, but we have to go a long way before we're getting there. And so obviously we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about that because it's we know moving is good for our bodies physically.
Yeah.
However, it's also good for us mentally. We know that we get the endorphins and all, you know, the feel-good hormones that we always talk about when we're talking about this kind of stuff. And so that's a real thing. There's real mental health benefits to exercise. Again,
you're saying it's not just a runner's high.
It's not just a runner's high.
There's like a movement high.
That's the term, but it's not exclusive to runners. No.
Yeah,
they just claimed the term first.
There you go.
Yeah, and so that they're obviously that is going to make a difference in our overall health, being in a good mental state, and then, you know, our cardio health is going to be helped. Just our basic function of our body, how we're able to use it, our flexibility, our the things that we're capable of doing, all of that. It's, you know, exercises. We don't have to talk much about how beneficial exercise is to our health. This is not surprising to anybody.
Yeah.
And so but the point being in this context, that exercise and the way that we're moving can be so much more impactful toward our health than the number on the scale. So it's just, if exercise is an issue for you, go back and watch, I think it was episode 4, the exercise for lazy girls or absolute beginners. If you think, oh, I can't move, I just can't do any of that stuff, it's not I don't like it, or I'm not able to do it, go back and watch that.
That's me.
That episode.
That is my like go-to for exercise.
She's the one who came up with the lazy girl title.
Yes. Yes. I can help that.
So and then so we've got sleep, we've got exercise / movement, we've got intuitive eating, we've got stress management, and our last one, which actually is like the big, you know, finale of the fireworks show, that has probably the most impact, is connection.
Oh yeah.
Connection with other people, social connections. They're finding more and more that has such tie-ins to how people do, how they recover after illness or injury or surgeries or things like that. In you know, for people who are suffering with loneliness, because of whatever situation they're in, if they're elderly and in an elder home, or if they're just living by themselves, and the health impact on loneliness is huge.
Yeah. Well, this is either going to freak you all out. Well, it's either going to freak you all out, or you're just going to feel neutral, probably. But in Japan, they have now they're like lamps. They're on purpose, not shaped in any human form, but they're like lamps of AI for talking to older people who live by themselves, giving them like some sort of, hi, how are you feeling today? Only it doesn't sound like that. Yeah. That's me doing it like a robot voice. It doesn't sound that like that. And there's like some response because it's Japan who's on the bleeding edge of technology, but they're finding how much having connection helps. And if there's no connection, evidently, even that is a better
than nothing.
Yeah. But you can go visit your grandma or grandpa or mother or dad. That's better than being a lamp.
Or your friend that lives alone that you haven't seen in a little while.
Yes. Yes. That's better than being a lamp. But I'm just saying that's how much connection is being valued. Yeah.
And it helps obviously with our emotional well-being when we're connected with other people. As I love how Brene Brown puts it, she says, we are hardwired for connection. This is not like, well, some people thrive on this. We're hardwired for connection. It's how we're created. We're meant to be connected.
So if you're an introvert like me, have a few good connections.
Well, and even things like, remember,
no one believes I'm an introvert, by the way. I really genuinely am.
She just hides it. But like when I was growing up, when I was little, I legitimately thought there were people who had emotions and people who didn't have emotions. Because my dad was not a person who he didn't show emotion. But then you put a dog in that man's lap, he is a completely different person. That connection, even people who have a hard time with their own emotions or relating to another person will often much more easily relate to animals, which is why there are such things as therapy dogs and such.
Yes.
That connection and, with another human being, awesome. But even if it's with an animal, huge impact for our well-being, our mental and emotional well-being, but our physical health. It lowers chronic disease and it speeds up recovery, and it reduces stress because of the support that we have. It also helps us to find meaning and purpose, and that makes, if somebody feels that meaning and purpose, they feel like they matter to somebody else, then it's your reason, it's your spark, it's your something that keeps you going. And obviously that desire is huge impact on our health, whether we have hope and any kind of a spark and something to look forward
and
to.
finding something you believe in.
Yeah.
And there's so many different places outside to go, so many, places that need help. There's planting trees and picking up garbage from the beaches and volunteering in various hospitals.
Yeah, whatever you like to do, you can find a place to volunteer to do it.
And online, you can find that. And even finding connections online. Like I had a group of people online that I've never met before in real life, but had connections with.
Yeah, so that connection is like the biggest impact on our health. Yeah. It also can help our cognitive function because it stimulates our brain when we have friends like this to talk to.
Yes,
it kicks them out my
very
toes.
stimulating here. Luckily, you're all part of it now. Such a dork. I'm seriously so dorky.
Which is why we get along so well.
Yes,
our dork matches.
Yeah, yeah. But somebody told me once.
Dorkiness.
Yeah, somebody told me once, you're like, for a relationship, your holes fit the rocks in their head fit the holes in your head. I don't know if I'm a rock or a wall, but whatever.
If you've heard it put that way.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So our reviewing: sleep, exercise or movement, intuitive eating, stress management, connection, and then one little bonus item I think kind of goes without saying, but we'll mention it: avoiding harmful substances. Obviously not good for our health if we're smoking. Obviously too much alcohol, not good for our health. Or illegal drugs. These are not things, we don't have to say these are not health habits that we want to have.
Yeah.
So avoiding, that's just a little bonus, was avoiding, keeping that in mind too, as your overall health.
Illegal ones. Drugs.
Well, if you're taking prescription drugs properly,
yes,
they will help your health.
Yes, I'm just saying there are some benefits to some legal drugs. I have seen that.
Yes.
So there are some benefits to alcohol.
Let me
just minor ones.
Not when you're drinking your points all week.
No, not when you drink all your Weight Watchers points. Those are not benefits.
So here we go.
In moderation, like everything.
Right.
Everything.
That's why I didn't say no alcohol whatsoever.
Yes.
I just said
yes.
Not overindulging.
No.
So
I would add sugar onto that list.
Well, that actually is and caffeine as well, depending on the key phrase for that is the dose makes the poison.
Ooh,
that's
I like that. I never heard that before.
Are we gonna have this much caffeine, or we're gonna have this much caffeine? Because it's a really strong substance. Are we gonna have this much sugar, or we have this much sugar?
I am.
And so it's
super addicted to sugar.
So it's with the dose makes the poison.
I like it.
So there we go. For those of you who are watching, here's your little graphic that we have for you. And
For those who aren't watching, it was just a list.
Yeah, just a list of our 5 habits that we've talked about.
Yes.
And so, again, I realize it can be really, really hard to let go of that number on the scale because we've been taught so much that that's the thing to watch. And even to the point where, like with my husband's doctor, that's what she was looking at, and that was all. And on the other hand, my wonderful doctor, she asks me all those questions every time. And she has said not word one to me about my weight because she looks at all the other indicators and not just the number on the scale. So promise, go look up current research.
You know what? This week, I'm not going to get on the scale. Not once.
Okay.
I'm making that pledge right now.
Okay.
I'm going to try and work on the other ones.
We will have her report back next time.
Yes.
Cool.
There we go.
That can be a hard habit to break.
It is.
Develop other habits, focusing on other habits. What?
Well, a habit. I hate that word. It sounds boring.
All right. Well, there are the 7 habits of highly effective people.
I know, I hated that too.
What would you rather call them? Practices?
Yeah.
Okay.
Practice experiments.
There you go.
My daily experiment.
5 healthy practices to experiment with.
See, that sounds so much more entertaining.
Okay, if you need to be entertained and habit doesn't do it for you, there you go.
We
now have new verbiage for you.
Thank you. I like it better.
In the meantime, this week, really nourish your body and your soul.
Yes.
And you can hear these 5 habits are these 5 practices to experiment with. With
your white coat.
You can do that.
Okay.
Thanks so much for being with us. And hopefully we'll see you next time.
See you later. Okay, so this is embarrassing because I've always made fun of people who did this, but
like and subscribe.
Turns out it's important.
Well, it's important because if you like what you're listening to and seeing and you want to find it again, it makes it easier for you to find it, and then also it makes it easier for other people to find it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like us, like us,
yeah, like put a ring on it, like us,
then like and subscribe, and it'll make us easier to find. Hey, it's Tracy. If this was helpful and you'd like more, follow me on Instagram at tlastel.nourishingbodyansoul, or on Facebook or YouTube at Nourishing Body and Soul, or you can find my website at nourishingbodysoul.com. Thanks for tuning in to Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast. Before we wrap up, we just want to remind you that the information we share in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended for medical advice. While we hope you find our discussions helpful, we strongly recommend that you seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, exercise routine, or any other aspect of your health. We also want to make it clear that the host, guests, and producers of this podcast are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences that may result from the use of any information or suggestion discussed in this podcast. We care about your well-being, but we can't take responsibility for individual outcomes. By listening to this podcast, you agree to indemnify and hold harmless the host, guests, and producers of this podcast from and against any and all claims, damages, liabilities, costs, and expenses arising from your use of the information provided in this podcast. We're so grateful for your support, and we hope you keep listening and learning with us. Thanks.